Hey guys, my name is Keita and I'm going to be your host for today. I'm going to be showing you how to create this artwork. Basically, the tutorial was giving you hints and insights on how to go about in creating your own amazing artwork. So during the course of this tutorial, these are the 5 major elements we're going to be looking at. So without wasting any more time, let us get down to business. Welcome to Catastrophic Art. Okay, so now that we're back, the first thing we're going to do is import our image into Photoshop. And there are basically 2 ways of doing that. The first is by dragging the image onto the already opened Photoshop app, and the second is by right-clicking on the image and clicking with Photoshop. I'm clicking on Open with Photoshop. I prefer the latter. So once we've opened our image on Photoshop, the next step is to create a copy of the original image, since the image is going to serve as our background. So we will do this by clicking Ctrl J. So next up, we're going to open the image of our mountain where we're going to get our floating rocks. Same method, right click, open with Photoshop. So once we have our image here, we're going to be looking at one of the major elements I said we'll be looking at, and that's making use of the lasso tool. And the lasso tool, we have the icon here by our left. Looks like a lasso. Anyways, we're going to cut out our rock. Just shape it in any way you want. When you're done, you can click Ctrl J to create a new layer of the selected area, or you can easily click Ctrl C to copy it without creating a new layer. So once we have our selected area, we're just going to copy it. So once we have pasted our image, the next element we'll look at is transforming. And basically you can transform any image by clicking Ctrl T. That will be to change the size of the image. There are many other things you can do with the transform tool. You can warp, distort, change the perspective, make the image vertical, horizontal, and many other things. So we're going to place the rock right here. That should do. Then I'm going to create a copy. To create a copy of a layer, you can just hold down Alt and then drag that layer to automatically create another layer of the same layer, a copy. So if you notice, the edges are kind of sharp, so we're going to be looking at another element, which is refining edges, to make sure the image does not look like it was just pasted there. So I'm going to delete the former layer I created and then mask this layer. Click on my brush, or you can click on B, which is the shortcut, then change my brush to soft, and then refine the edges. So once I'm done with that, click on Alt again, drag the image to the other side, and that should do. So next I'm going to be doing is stamping, and I'm going to show you the reason why we are going to be stamping. I'm trying to cover the ropes by the end of the image, but if I do that by just like using my brush and painting over the lines, it's going to be pretty much obvious that I covered something. So if we're going to use the stamp tool makes it look all natural, like the image came that way. So I'm going to delete this layer, go back to the original layer and click on the stamping tool right here. Hold Alt and zoom in first. Hold Alt from the area you want to copy from, and then just cover the lines. Using the same texture to cover the lines of the image, and then move over to the other side, the same process. So after stamping, I'm going to be stamping the moon next. The same process. I'll just pick from an angle I feel is most comfortable and then cover up the moon. But it still looks like I pasted something over there, so I'm going to redo it. So Ctrl Z to undo. Hold Alt. And we are done. So after stamping, the next step or elements we're going to be looking at is creating reflections. So this is how I create reflections, though I believe there are many ways, many methods out there on how to create reflections. And this would just be one of them. I'm going to group the floating rocks so I can easily move them as I please. So now I'm going to create a copy of this rock, move it down, and take it out of this group. Ctrl T. I'm going to flip it around, upside down. Place it in the right place. Then open Hue and Saturation from the adjustment layer. Create a clipping to the layer below it, meaning that everything I do in this layer, hue and saturation, only affects the layer under it. So I'm going to take it, the lightness, all the way down. Then reduce the opacity. This is how I create reflections. So now to create the second reflection, I'm simply going to make this scene again, then hold Alt to create a second layer, drag it under the second rock. I'm going to group this. You can click on multiple layers by holding Control. Group them, then make the hue and saturation scene again and create a clip into the group itself. And now I'm going to reduce the opacity of the group. Make sure the rocks hardly seen to create a reflection effect. Okay, so next thing we're going to do is click on the channel mixer, the icon on the adjustments, and then I'm going to play around with this. Make sure the channel mixer layer is above every other layer, and just play around with the colors. So once we're done choosing our color, we're going to click on our moon. Time to import our moon image. I could right click as usual, but I'm going to drag and drop the image instead. This makes it easier for what I'm about to do. So click enter to drop the image. And instead of masking the layer, instead I'm going to look for an effect that will be easier and more suitable, and the best would be screen. So I'm going to click on this, change it to screen. Ctrl T to reduce the size of our image. Next step, we're going to mask the moon. After I create copies of the moon and place them in other directions, I'm going to reduce the opacity of the moon to 58 and do the same for the other moon. Then go back to the moon in the middle and create a mask. Make sure our brush is soft, and then shape it into something like a crescent moon. and make sure your focal color is black. Black is used to hide parts of the image you're trying to cover, while white reveals what you've already hidden. So I'm going to increase the brightness of the image. Click on the brightness icon on the adjustments. Looking at the image, you find out that the rocks are looking blue, and that's because you're under color balance. So I'm just going to click on the group and move it above all other layers so that we get your original color back. And then I'm going to add a shade into it. With hue and saturation, create a clipping to the group. Lightness, take it down a bit. Then mask. On the mask of the hue and saturation, use your brush. Make sure the default color is white or black to hide the darkness from the hue and saturation. Do the same thing for the other rock. Once you're done, the next step will be inserting the text. The font I'm using is Angada Free. You already know what I'm going to type, but you can do how to type anything you please. So I'm going to type afloat. Now I'm going to change the color of the font. And that should be okay. Now we are done. So that should be okay. I want it to look very blue, so let's click on blue here, then take blue all the way up. Hey guys, we've come to the end of this tutorial. If you like what you've seen and found anything useful, don't forget to like and subscribe. It will really go a long way. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section, and for more beautiful pictures, you can visit catastrophe.com. Thank you for watching and hope to see you next time.